Just most merciful, I'd like to ask our esteemed guests to please come forward. On behalf of the Qurtuba Institute at the Adams Center, I'd like to welcome everyone to tonight's very, very special presentation that we have, as well as our esteemed guests and scholars. We've actually got movie celebrities with us today, alhamdulillah. I wanted just to begin to say that as many of you who are familiar with the Adams Center are familiar with the Qurtuba Institute and the number of classes and seminars that we do, every so often we get a request from our beloved Imam or Imams and scholars to do something that really, it blows our minds, and we feel very much we feel very humbled to be a part of that. This initiative is actually one of them. Imam Majid called us a few weeks ago and said, listen, I want you guys to organize this special screening and showing and really presentation with these two amazing individuals that have done an incredible amount of work for not just peace in Nigeria, but really for global peace. You know, we talk about it, we make dua for it, but here we have practitioners with us. So I'd like to actually just turn it over. I know many people here are interested in hearing more about their story. Offhand, is there anybody from the media that's here at the moment? No, okay, no problems, inshallah. What we're going to do, we actually have one of our dear volunteers, Zubayd. He will be, inshallah, moderating tonight for the questions that we have. We will also have some opening remarks with Imam Majid. And of course, I would also like for him, inshallah, he'll introduce our esteemed guests, both Imam Muhammad Al-Shafa and Pastor James. So without any further ado, I'd like to turn it over to Zubayd.
Assalamu alaikum. So just some quick acknowledgments for the people that are here. We'd like to just recognize Reverend Early from the NAACP Loudoun president, Mike Trivett, who is the director of local outreach for the Christian Fellowship Group, Sant Gupta from the United Hindu Jain Temples, who's representing around 15 Hindu Jain temples around the area, Dr. Abu Al-Shinqiti from IIIT, Andrea from representing just the DC area interfaith, Charles Stevenson from the Great Falls United Methodist Church, Lynn Chapman, president of the Ashburn Stake for the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, Ibad Santala from the Universalist Unitarian in Sterling, and Shama Farouk, the Interfaith 9/11 Unity Walk Steering Committee, as well as some Muslim Community Interfaith event attendees, Sadia Abbasi, Javed Tour, Shahina Tour, Abdurrahman Latib, Layla Latib, and Darren Berry. So just, I know you all have a lot of questions for not only the Imam and the pastor, but director of the film as well, who's here, who'll also come up for Q&A. Just some quick logistics. Isha's going to come around 8 o'clock, so what we'll do is we'll break for prayer around that time. And then we'll come back afterwards. People can grab some food. We'll sit down and we'll continue the Q&A after that around 8:15, 8:30 or so. So to get started, I'd like to have the pastor give just an opening prayer for the event so we can just get started properly.
Shall we pray? We commence this program in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Our dear God in heaven, we just want to say thank you for the opportunity to share and to learn. We ask that you make us instruments in your hands, that at the end your name alone will be glorified. Amen.
So I'd like to get Imam Majid to come and just obviously speak a little bit about why we had this event and introduce the Imam, the pastor, and then continue with the Q&A after that.
Bismillah, alhamdulillah, wa salatu wa salam ala rasulillah. It gives me a great pleasure to be with you this evening. I heard the story of the Imam and the pastor when I was in Georgetown on the program, and I was very moved by the fact that the Imam, as he said to you, is not to water down your religion, and as well the pastor, it is to commit to a global peace. And I really was moved by that. And here my friend Charles, telling me that they're coming. And I know him, by the way, from about 20 years ago. But I become more also really appreciative of his work in interfaith and bringing people together. And therefore we are here to hear from the Imam and the pastor that they were the star of this movie that you have seen. It's very interesting that because we live in the troubling world, that people who work for peace stand out. This is supposed to be the norms, isn't it? We're having a movie because it's still not the norms yet. We need to have more of this. Until we don't have to make a movie anymore about it, because so many of them, then they become normal. Am I correct? But it has to start somewhere. Someone has to lead the way. Somebody has to set the model. Somebody has to set the example. And I think the examples you have seen here of forgiveness and people coming together is amazing. I would like to thank all of you, especially people of or friends from other faiths who come to us, present with us tonight for this program. I would like to thank all of those who made this possible. And you have a team of Adam Center with Charles and his team here. I would like to thank you for all the work you put on this also. Sister Humayra Khan, who helped me to screen this movie, and the young people that you have seen here, that the Brother Shad, Brother Ali, and Zubayd is our moderator tonight. Sister Farhana Alas in the room. Where is she? Sister Farhana Alas. She stepped out. But Sister Farhana Alas is our interfaith director at Adam Center, and therefore those who would like to know more about our interfaith activities, we need to speak to Sister Farhana Alas. Imam and the pastor, I would like really Imam Shafi and Pastor James to thank you from the bottom of my heart for you to be with us here today and to share with us your experience and to take questions and answer from the audience. As Zubayd said, that Isha prayer will come in the middle, but we'll resume. And also there's food. True or not? Okay, good. There's food, yeah. Therefore, while people are Muslim are praying, also would like our guests to continue with their dinner, and then we'll come and join you. And Muslim will halt, and they pray and they come back. Now, I'll give it to the Imams. And he's going to call them after the call for prayer. I would like this to say that the Imam and the pastor will make the opening remarks of 3-4 minutes, but the program will continue after the Isha, after the prayer, for further question and answer and other programs. Zubayd will take over.
Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala sayyidil mursaleen wa ala alihi wa ashabihi tabi'in wa bi'ihsan ila yawmiddin. Wa ba'd, distinguished brothers and sisters of faith, I greet each and every one of us here with a greeting of peace by saying Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. It simply means may peace and blessing of Almighty be with you all. Today, we are here not as a film star. This is not about Hollywood or Nollywood or Bollywood. It is a reality about the struggle of two people to discover the essence of their being. It's a story of a struggle of a person within himself to rediscover his true identity, to connect what he professes to the reality of his action. Some of us, we belong, but we don't believe. Some of us, we believe, but we don't belong. So, believing without belonging is, I have faith, but I don't go to mosque, I don't go to church, I don't go to synagogue, I don't have anything to do with them. I do it my own way. And these are people who believe, but they don't belong. You only see them during Christmas, or during Easter, or during other festivities, or either Eid al-Kabir or Eid al-Adha. Then you know that, or in Ramadan, you know, oh, so you're a Muslim. These are people who what? They believe, but they don't belong. But those who belong without believing, how do you identify them? Sorry, these are people who belong, but they don't believe. Only in Ramadan you see them. During festivity they are there. But those who believe without belonging also, you only see them in 3 occasions. When they want to do marriage, they want to do the cultural marriage. When somebody died, you will see them there. And outside these 2, you don't see them in any engagement. But how do you know they believe? They believe when they have disaster, calamity before then, they look for Imam. I have a problem, please pray for me. That is when you see their belief in action. Then you know they belong to this community. So believing without belonging or belonging without believing, there are 2 important factors. Our is a story of believing and belonging at the same time. And it's a story to make you search your mind as a person. What lesson are you drawing from our life? It begins with you as an individual person. Are you truly committed to your faith? Is your faith, as the Prophet of Islam, Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, has defined the Muslims? He said a Muslim is he or she, his brother and his neighbor are protected. 1, their life becoming sacred in his hand. Number 2, their property becoming safe in his hand. Number 3, their honor becoming protected. This important element of your brother or your neighbor, whoever your neighbor is, and Islam does not define neighbor by the name of a Muslim. It can be a free thinker, it can be anybody. So, is your neighbor safe? Is his life safe? Is his honor safe, or you demonize him? And is his property safe? These are 3 important components for my history and my own struggle. I try to assess myself. And in the search of pains, I'm selecting about who I love, who not to love, who to care for, who not to care for. I've gone through this experience and it was a negative. To say I have right to select who to love or who not to love, who to care for and who not to care for. I've gone through this, I hate, and I've even caused pains and injury to others. Until I discovered that that is not the true spirit of Islam, for which I profess to. And when I rediscover the true spirit of Islam, there is not like selective love, I have to love all. There's no selective caring, I have to care for all. Because only in caring for the others, I have my own inner security, guaranteed. And celestial journey become easy for me. So we would love you to ask us as much as you can. Question that can you as a person, you are struggling with in terms of connecting your faith and your reality. Ask us questions around that you feel from us you can be able to. Perhaps from our journey, you find something that will add value to the essence of your being, why you are who you are today. Thank you very much.
Jesus said, when you go into a house, say to the people, peace be unto you. And if there is a man of peace, your peace shall be returned unto you. And that tradition of Jesus, I say, peace be unto you.
And unto you too.
You see, most Christians have forgotten that special instruction.
Don't worry, we do it on their behalf.
And the Muslim are doing it. Now, having said that, I have lived a life of pains all my life. I have lived a life of hate. I come from a minority group in Nigeria, north central Nigeria, called Bagi, which the Hausa man cannot pronounce very well. He said Gwari. And that alone is humiliating on my personality. Because my identity is not well pronounced the way I want it. But having said that, my father was a soldier. I grew up in the military barracks. I learned the act of fighting and war even as a child. When the occasion provided that I should lead Christian young people to fight and defend the church against the Muslim, it was an easy thing for me to enlist. And I enlisted quite a number of people, and I trained them to hate. I use the Bible, and there are certain verses in the Bible that are open to different translations. And I said to them, when Jesus sent his disciple earlier, he said, take no sword, take nothing with you. But this time before he was crucified, at some point he said, if you don't have a sword, sell your cloak, sell your suit, sell your jacket, and buy one. And what does Jesus mean? Go fight the Muslims and kill them all. That was the message I preached until I had a turning point. And my turning point came from my desire to reach out to the Muslim. I discovered that if you love, love is reciprocal. And if somebody have a sword and he wants to cut you, if you are far from him, the sword would get you. But when you inch close to him, the sword will go over your shoulder. And this I have learned that as a result of loving the Muslims, I understand them better and they understand me better. I've learned to use the word that they want me to respect them. Respect begets respect. So brothers and sisters, I know it is time for you to go and pray. And if I make long speeches, you will not come back. So I will better say, blessed are those who make their speeches short, for the people shall surely pray and come back.
So we'll break for issue. We'd like to start off with some Q&A. I think just standard protocol. Raise your hand, someone will call out, and we'll bring the microphone around just to make it easier. So,
I wonder what role did the Institute of Peace have in your presentation? Was it making of the film, or did they have anything at all to do with what you did, or did that come from you?
Thank you very much for this important question. The U.S. Institute of Peace gave us a seed grant to do an intervention in one of the crises in Plateau State, in southern Plateau State of Nigeria. And the ceremony you saw, the dancing, was the commemoration of the sealing of an affirmation where the people of the land agreed to stay in peace, and since then it has been peaceful till today. That was the component. Further to that, USIP also gave some support in the production of the DVD, The Imam and the Pastor, and the current one, An African Answer. And we are glad they did that. And of course, the Imam and the Pastor has been translated into about 12 languages. The current one is in South Korean language, so we have them in Arab, French, Hebrew, just name them, Danish, Spanish, Finnish, and all that. So we are grateful to USIP for that seed grant.
I would like to ask, there's two people here that's just joined the table, and each one of them has a connection with this story. I would like each one of us to tell us what your connection with the story of people from Nigeria. What took you to Nigeria? Alan and Charles.
Thank you. Well, it's a privilege to have been involved in making this film. What took us to Nigeria was that our film team, we're For the Love of Tomorrow Films. We were looking to make a story on Christian-Muslim relations anywhere in the world. And we happened to meet the Imam and the Pastor at a conference where they were sharing their experience in Switzerland. Now, the co-director of FLT Films is from Gaza. He's a Palestinian Muslim. And as we were talking about their workshop, he said, well, you know, I could easily get an Israeli friend in London to come and give a workshop, and lots of people would come and they might applaud our efforts, but it would have absolutely no effect back home. What I would be interested in, and we thought, well, yes, what we should be interested in here is really what effect are they having in Nigeria. And my late father, who was a veteran filmmaker, born in Quetta in Pakistan, at the age of 79, and I went to Nigeria together. And I think one of the factors in the relationship as filmmakers of trust was that we have a Muslim in our team, and we have a father and son, and particularly the old man, my father, struggling to get the pictures there in the mosques in the evenings, getting the angle down on the street, and people said, oh, this Englishman is trying. I think that's what I will share now. Thank you.
Well, my connection with these two friends, I met them in this place in Switzerland called Co, and there are some reports of our last conference in this summer there. And they became good friends. We became good friends. And then I was so happy to learn that this film's being made about them. And then they wished that it would be premiered at the UN. And I live in Washington. I'm from Malta, but I live in Washington, work with initiatives of change, and I didn't know how to go about it, but Dick Ruffin and I tried, and Alan made some introductions, and we found some people who knew Ashafa and James, and they opened the doors for us. And we had a wonderful launch at the United Nations, and then later at the World Bank and USIP here in Washington and other universities and so on. But that would not have happened if, when I was 20, which was about 3 years ago, no. I did not respond to a prompting I had. Malta has had a very difficult history with Islam over centuries. The Imam can tell you a favorite saying in Sudan about us, and it's not complimentary. I felt superior to Muslims. I thought that as a colonized person from Britain, we became independent when I was 11. I felt bad when people treated me with superiority. But sadly, that did not stop me from feeling superior to others, including people in my own, people I grew up with, because I achieved a little fame in my country, being on television and so on, but especially to Muslims. And I was invited to a dinner one day after I started to rethink my life with a Palestinian. I was telling our friend here. And I was ashamed at the end of the evening because he was such a nice person. And I thought, Arabs are no good, Muslims are no good. And then I thought, well, I can be a friend of his on a superficial level. But perhaps if I want to be a real friend, I should simply apologize for my arrogance and superiority. And Akram, who was an engineering student in my country, in Malta, he accepted my apology, and he understood exactly what I meant, because he said, my Maltese neighbors treat me with great distance. They would not, come anywhere near me. And so I know exactly what you mean. But for me, he did me a huge favor, because it opened my heart to a whole region of the world, which is only 180 miles from us, south, and Tunisia is on our west, and could benefit from the richness of the Islamic heritage and generosity and so on. And then I later decided to leave my career in banking to work for something better in the world, because I could see that if you change prejudice, perhaps you have something to contribute. And I was privileged to help with dialogues in my country between Muslims, Christians, and Jews, and in Fez, in Morocco, and in India, and also in Switzerland. And I really prize the friendships. Imam Majid helped me learn some Arabic, but more than that, he has been a constant friend. And I have a very, very good friend I met in Sudan in 1982, Tariq here. And it's just, I'm so happy to be with you here again.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
I'll open it for you. This for you.
Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salam.
Peace be upon you. Last year you came to Georgetown, and this is a particular question to the Imam this time. You gave a wonderful talk about how we as human beings identify ourselves. Sometimes we identify ourselves with blood relationships, and then you gave different degrees as to expansiveness, as to how we can identify ourselves in the highest of ways. Is there a way you might be able to share that today?
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. I think I love to stand, because the Imam teaches us to stand when we're doing the khutbah. You stand and talk, you don't sit down. We're talking about, yes, I remember last year we discussed about the issue of identity and the multiple level of identity we as human beings have. This identity is one of the core values that define us. It makes us who we are. We feel safe or insecure by the level of identity we create for ourselves. At times, these identities serve as our borders. They serve as our safe zone, our comfort zone. And in my search for answer of why multiple conflicts occur within us, why we couldn't aspire to the highest level of identity, which is a spiritual level of identity. Every human being have 9 levels. I discover 9 important levels of identity. It's like a child from kindergarten to nursery, to primary school, to junior primary, to junior grade and senior grade, then to university, and from university to the time he become a professor, and from professor become a professor emeritus. These are levels of our
Using the British
consciousness.
system. Using British system of
I'm using the British. Now we are British colony. Like America was very stubborn not to be. It ran away, doesn't? They colonize us. And the important thing is that this level of identity we have become an insurance bond for us. It's a good ticket we use to assess whatever we want to assess or to run away from whatever we want to deny. Forgive me, please. The first level of identity, you can write it, 9 levels of identity we all have. The first level is our family level of identity. In the family level, we only trust our father and our mothers. We look like the children here. They only trust their father and their mother. Most probably their brothers and their sister. Most probably their uncle who is frequenting their house, or aunt who is frequenting their house. That is their comfort zone. We don't ask too much questions. We move in, we feel free within this level of our identity, which is the family level of identity. We explore the world from that window, and we put that lenses in our interpersonal relationship with others. If it's not part of that family, we are no more secure with him. We are secure because he's a member of our family, and we feel so free. We use that ticket to assess power, to assess resources, to assess everything we want to assess. But that is the first level of our identity. The second level of identity is our what? Is our community level of identity. And this community are people you see every day, on your way to school, on your way back from school. Even though I'm a Muslim, but I don't live in this community, I'm a stranger here. The way they will trust the Imam and open up, the non-Muslims here will say, hey, who is this guy? Where is he coming from? They will not be free with me as they will be free with him. Why? Because every day they see the Imam. There's a level of trust. There's a level of relation that have been built. So therefore, the community spirit, this is our community. And that's why in the whole world, you break record. This community broke record. In the times when it become powerful in the world we live in, on the unfortunate event of September 11, there's sort of a solidarity within your own community. A solidarity we didn't find anywhere in the world. That solidarity is the Christian, the Jews, and other faith community all come around the Muslim to say, no, you need to be protected. You are part of us. We are part of you. It is elusive in other communities here. That is the power of community spirit. So it's an identity we share within those who are within those bonds, those territorial bonds. The third level of identity is our language, the mother language. Whoever speaks your mother language to you, you have 50% of your trust. You open your heart, oh, my mother language. You open your heart to him or her. You accept her because he can communicate with the mother language. It's an identity we have and we share, and it's so strong. You assess people because you can speak their mother language, their mother tongue. They close on you because you cannot communicate in their language. I say, hi. What is this? What is this? I say, hi. Oh, hi. Yes. What can I help you? Just by the wall, hi. Imam say, hey. What is It's the same thing. And hi is the same thing, but just walk away because is not coded in your own etymology. So I can't assess that your heart. But if I could say hi, okay, hi, yes. Because that is another level of identity we share, with which we broke eyes, we broke doors. We enter houses, we enter people's hearts. They receive us or reject us based on that level of identity. Number 4. The identity number 4 we have is our gender. Am I a man or a woman? To make us as men, we can be able to relate easily with the Imam and we can talk heart to heart. But supposing my wife come here, I want to talk with the Imam, say yes, 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 madam, yes, yes, yes. I said, no, look at my face, let's talk Imam. I said, no, yes, I'm hearing you, madam, yes, you can talk. Why? Because the gender sensitivity within the human family is a genetic gene that doesn't connect in that directions. It takes a time to connect with the other based on trust or certain level of emotional coming together, and there is a bond before it connects. But for us, it never connects. But for a woman to woman, easily it connects. The one can understand, yeah, this is a woman like me talking. What can I do for you, my sister? Now, what can I do for you, my brother? And it has to take a level to get to that. So gender is another powerful level of identity, which we will have ticket to people's hearts, to community, to be accepted or to be rejected. Number 5 level of identity apart from gender is the level of identity we call what? We call our national identity. Nationality is a powerful identity. Even though we share the same mother tongue, we share everything, but that national is another bond that makes us who we are part of who we are, or we reject the others. And we could see the danger within this, or the progress or the positivity within it as a level of identity and insurance bond we have. Outside of that, we have what you call, number 6, you have your racial level of identity. In the racial level of identity we share, and you always see when you come over to Europe, I say the other time, remember? So when you come to the airport, they say all European this way, non-European that way. So he's a good friend of mine, but when we come to Europe, because by color of my skin, the system define me as non-European. So the trust is not there. They need to scrutinize my visa. Even though I may have more input to bring to Europe than any other European, no. They have to scrutinize me for me to get acceptance. The same thing if European cross over to Gulf. They say the Gulfs this way, non-Gulfs, non-Arabs this way. So you then, the same thing if you go to Asia. If you're Asian, you have free access. You can move this way, but non-Asians, you don't see the white and the black, we all line up somewhere else as others. So this level of identity gives us an insurance bond or reject us based on that because of the color of our skin. And that takes us to the 7th level of identity. And the 7th level is what we call what? The professional level of identity. Professionalism. We are medical doctors, we are engineers, we are professional men of letters, attorneys, lawyers, etc., etc. Those professions give us an insurance bond. Even at the younger level, our schools. No, we are all alumni of Harvard. We are alumni of Oxford. No, we are Yale alumni. No, we are dual alumni or dual-less, or they call it. So these insurance bonds of our professional also define us access or non-access. Number 8 is our humanity. The human in us, what makes us different with other creations of God, also give us an insurance level of identity. That's why when calamity happens, either it is tsunami, or it is Katrina, or it is famine in Africa, we all say, oh, humans are suffering. Can we raise funds to support that? Immediately everybody bring his add-in resources to support fellow human beings are suffering today in Turkey because of the earthquake. So our heart goes there. We forgot the politics of nationalism, the politics of professionalism, the politics of language, of race. We cut it off because the humanity is in danger. And that is another level of identity that go beyond this. And the last, for my own analysis, is our spiritual level of identity. In spirituality, we are able to see beyond. We start taking the characteristic of God, the divinity of God in us. God is compassionate, we are compassionate. God is loving, we are loving. God is caring, we are caring. God is forgiving, we are ever forgiving. That's why in Muslims, we have that name in our children's name, Abdul Ghaffar, Abdul Rahim, Abdul Latif, Abdul Salam. Are we getting it? These are qualities of God. The God of God is peace, is source of peace. Then you say, Abdul Salam, I am the servant of the God of peace. I surrender myself. I want to have that attribute in me. So these are 9 levels of identity. Unfortunately, it is becoming the sources of conflict. Some, they stuck. If you stuck at any level of this, then you lost the other level. For example, when you stuck to trust only your family, or only those who speak your mother language, and you end up like Somalia. Somali is at the kindergarten level because they only trust member of their family alone. So it's only this family versus that family, this clan versus one clan. They are all the same language, the same religion, the same race, but it never helped them. They couldn't go beyond the family tree. That's why it is one of the longest nations in the world without a successful, a legitimate, acceptable to all, and inclusive government. But when you talk on the level of what? Of your community identity, which is the second level, you go to Northern Ireland. Only in community they are the same language, the same race, the same religion, but they are stuck. It is the Catholic community, the Protestant community. They are all Christians, but they are busy murdering themselves. They couldn't see beyond the communal spirit. So these are some of the challenges we have in our world, and for you to be the ideal is to be able to know how to use all this level of identity. They are positive tools. They are not made for negativity. They are positive tools, but how do you use each one without harming the other level of your identity? And that's why you need to be spiritual. The spiritual level is the divine level of your identity, where you try to connect. That's why the Quran will say, only Allah, bi zikrillahi tatma'inna al-qulub. You can never have that inner security, the inner sense of peace, until you're able to connect. Always, every time, your spirituality is your inward. That's what I say at Georgetown University the other day. I'm sorry, I'm giving a lecture, it's just question and answer. But for you to understand that this, as human beings, we have different level of identity, and until we connect to this level of identity without pains and tears, when we see all as brothers, all as part of one, then we are the ideal human being God has wished us to be.
Thank you, Imam and Pastor. I have a question for you. What is your message for the youth in America? Imam first, and then maybe Pastor can also give a message.
Or let the pastor go first this time.
I think by his pronouncement is good. Probably the Spirit led him to say the Imam first. Carry on.
I give it to you, my brother.
Please.
For the American youth and the American people, God in His infinite wisdom, this is the youngest nation in the world in terms of values compared with, I'm not talking about the Sudan that was born yesterday. I'm not talking about the nations like other nations that were born up recently. But in terms of for these generations, America is one of the youngest nations in the world. Of course, 200 years old, 200 and something, 1770 something. You get the point? It is one of the youngest nations in the world compared with Cyprus, compared with Greek, compared with United Kingdom, compared with France. Is one of the youngest nation in the world. However, God has endowed you with a gift, and that gift is how you use it as children of America. God has a wisdom for making you what you are today. It's not out of your strength. You are the embodiment. When you talk of university, you know what university is? Universal city. University is what? Literally it means universal city, and all-inclusive, where all faculty of reason, of knowledge are nurtured. And America is a university. It's a universal city where all human race, their species, can be found within this country. And they are proud of this area as their first, as one of their level of identity as a nation. Then you have a message. The burden is, as my friend will say, he said, to whom much is given, much is expected. God has given you so much. Because of that, the whole world is expecting so much from you. So children of America, the founding fathers has made this nation great. They do a law, which some see as promissory notes. And 100 years after, or based on the law, you have to go to civil war. Your country children, your country go to civil war because of that promissory note. And 50 years ago, it became a full-fledged. It's still a nation going through a transition of development, but you have outweighed so many countries around the world. So because of that, as a nation, my appeal to you, the young Americans here, is to be able to go beyond, create a new paradigm. It seems your political leaders, they are stuck. It's either they are empty here or they are confused. So you new generation of America, as the whole world is confused, so there is a confusion somewhere. And secondly, so you have a gift for the world. You help the world to find alternative energy. We've been using fix, and fix has never give us improved human dignity. The American of today create another paradigm beyond the power of might that will enhance your dignity and your honor before all men. Because one of the gifts Americans have is in God we trust. Even though some people, because they have eaten so much and belly full so much, they've forgotten that. But so many of you, so many Americans are God conscious people. You are spiritual people as Americans. How do you use that spiritual energy? In line with the dictate of an inclusive system that will save the world from disaster. The world is heading towards disaster. Not only economically, already long time ago, there's a moral bankruptcy in the whole world. Long time ago, there's spiritual bankruptcy in the whole world. And I feel the youth of America of today, you have opportunity to save the world. Because when they say an American child is here, people want him, they are saying Obama. So they want him to talk. Initially when he talk, they are seeing Mr. Bush talking. So they see a power. They see authority in action. And that's why, as I said during Friday Khutbah there, you are a shining light. You are the hope of the world. But how you use your energy will determine who you are. And I love what all your brothers says. What makes you great American is what you bring to America, not what you take out of America. So what honor are you bringing to these nations? And I know there are 4 principles that if any American youth have it in his mind, he will be greater for it. 1 is the issue of absolute purity. Always move as an American with purity of mind. Even though you are wrong, when you know that you are right, it's not about double standard. Number 2, absolute honesty. As a young Americans, have this in your hearts. Number 3, you must have what you call absolute unselfishness. When you stand by this golden rule, and finally you have unconditional love. Americans have a heart of giving. Somebody say, you know why, with all the crazy thing, you know why God is saving America? Say no. Because America has a compassionate heart. Americans, the American people, get the word. The American people, you people here, you have a compassionate heart. You are so much good in sharing and caring and caring and sharing with the other. Because of that, God closed his eyes to some few of you who are behaving as Ad and Samud. To some few of you who are, because of that metaphor, Allah closed his eyes to all those who have done mistakes. He closed his eyes because there are so many good of you. So my own heart is absolute purity, absolute honesty, absolute unselfishness, and unconditional love to humanity. If you do that, you save the future of America, and the America will still be the greater America that the whole world is willing to learn from. Thank you very much.
Well, when a professor finished talking, what next do you have to say about any advice that you can give? I stand on the existing protocols and what he has shared with you about how to make America great. And I say, if you have to compete with other people of the world, try to outdo them in showing love. If you have to fight anybody, use the weapon of love. Excessive love will help you to destroy your enemy. Thank you very much.
Yes, I just have a question for both of you gentlemen. Back in '92 when you were, I guess, fighting each other, how did you get past that to the point where you all are today? How did that take place, I guess, is my question.
Can we take the second question here so that we put the two together?
Yeah.
Take the two together.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Imam, for talking about Americans' opportunity and responsibility to create the new paradigm. I was a young American many years ago. You make me feel like a young American again today, and I thank you for that. And I was a young American in a country far away, surrounded by teachers and students from all over the world. That became part of my lifetime paradigm. But more importantly, when you talk about creating a paradigm, it seems like you're addressing people and grassroots people and groups such as ourselves. You're not talking about government, corporations, or established American institutions as instrumental in this. Would you care to comment on that, please? Thank you.
So we have two questions.
My boss first.
Thank you very much. I start with you. That I just said, what will government institutions do? First and foremost, I think they are doing something. The fact that they have institutions that are working towards reaching out to the people of other nations under AIDS, Grant, USID, USIP, Institute for Religions and Freedom, it means they have something in place that they are working towards reaching the other people of the world at the governmental level. Also, United States United States and the relationship with my country is they are interested in good governance in my country, and I have seen severally that the government of America has, from time to time, if possible, intimidate governments to submitting to certain principles of good governance and democracy. To me, that was positive. However, it is not all good. All good in the sense that very many African nations, head of governments, will loot their nation's treasury, and they are accepted in other parts of the world, including America. For me, it is not only when the people are in the bad book of the government that they should bring the money that has been stashed here. They should send it back now to the countries where they know people are taking money and making the people live poor. Next to it is that they should stop sending guns, selling guns to nations for the nations to kill themselves. When one person decides to perpetuate himself or herself at a certain position at the expense of other nations. So they should stop sending guns to us. They should send food and other developmental things like they are already doing. They should increase that momentum. In that way, we will be talking from the grassroots, and they will be talking from the top, and we will meet somewhere in the middle. And that is another thing that America can do to many nations of the world, including my nation. Addressing my other colleague's question is to say, friend, it was not all rosy. As you can see from the film, we have disagreements. But we are now 16 years together, working and learning to love and to understand each other. We realized from the onset, particularly on my side, why I came to working with Imam Shafa. He was foundational on my scripture. I make bold to say here that Pat Robinson of the 700 Club hired me to reach out to the Muslims in northwestern Nigeria. I speak Hausa a lot, and my former position as a youth leader made me traverse the length and breadth of my nation, and my experience came handy. But he didn't come himself. He delegated somebody who was a Nigerian to coordinate the evangelization of Muslims in my country. And when he came, I was being given the orientation to take up this job. He said to me, James, you cannot preach Jesus Christ with the kind of hate you have for the Muslims. I know you have recruited people to fight, And of course, you have lost your hand in this fight. Except you love them, you cannot share Christ, because Christ is love. That was my real turning point. But I realized I wasn't now struggling to evangelize the Muslim. I was rather struggling to love the Muslims. And I'm happy that I did that. That was my real turning point. And I'm happy he's still a Muslim. He wants to die a Muslim. And I'm a Christian. I want to die a Christian. But we all pray that one day one of us will take the Shahada and the other one will accept Christ. We don't know what will happen, but we keep trying. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, brother. It shows that we are still proselytizing. It's not about don't proselytize. It's the dream, the Great Commission. Go and evangelize the world. Go and Islamize the world. You got the point. We still have that in us, but doing it with the dignity and respect of the human person. Let it be the choice of the person when you connect his heart to your heart that make him to switch over, not you intimidating or demonizing him. For me, one of my major turning points was the day I was in the mosque. Remember, I lost my spiritual teacher, the documentary say. I lost two of my cousins who are very dear to me in the fight between us and him. And that's why I told my team to go after him. And when they go after him, when we use daggers, we behave real human strength, not just shooting over there. And then when they chop off his hand, they thought he's gone, he's dead. Because they throw the sword and he put his hand, and the hand replaced the sword. So the sword cut off the hand. Also they thought he's gone, he's dead. So later we saw him in the hospital, and later we heard that he's there and he's even training some people somewhere to fight. He said, no, you must go for his life. I want him dead. That was the issue. And for 3 years I was nursing, because the spiritual teacher is a Sufi. He's not even a Salaf like me. He's a Sufi teacher. He's a guy he relates so much with everybody. He see God, the light of God in every human being. So it's not about conversion, it's about improving the human dignity within each and individual person. But for me, it's not just about seeing the human dignity, but for him to sweep over to my side. It's either you are with me or against me. I divide the world into two. Even though there are so many lines beyond those yes or no, there are other gray colors in between. So, in the light of this, when I went to the mosque with this hate, 1995, we met face to face inside the government house, just as you saw in the film. And when we met there, my heart was beating. This is the guy, this is the enemy. This is the guy who came my spiritual teacher. You know, when somebody hurt you, and you have opportunity, you are meeting him for the first time after he hurt you, the pain become fresh. Somebody betray you, the day you see him, your wound become fresh. Somebody hurt you, and the first you are meeting him again on the day of your birthday, that birthday is a mess up. Forget about it. Because the pain become fresh again. The inner wound become fresh because it's unhealed wound. So when I saw him, my pain come back again. I see how the spiritual teacher say, Imam Ashafa is not called me and say, he said Norain. My name is Muhammad Norain. The family name is Ashafa. So he said, Zun Norain, you are a light for the world, but not through this hate in your heart. He always tell me that, but I didn't see it. So you're gonna talk to the world. The world will listen to your voice, but not with this. Stop this. But I never listen. When he started preaching that, I love to hear him when he's using different metaphor to explain the essence of being. I would love to listen. He's a good storyteller. After some tafsir, he go into storytelling. I love listening to that. But I don't want him to look at me and say, because he's making me like a coward. When they have the gun, we don't have the gun. We should go and fight.
You had guns, brother.
No, you didn't. Your brother sell it to us, you know. So, but the important thing there is that on that day, we met in the government house. And as we are sitting, because the government wants us to discuss the issues. And you know, Nigeria is a very religious country. Africa is a very notoriously religious continent. Religion is still flourishing across our continent. It's different with what you find in other parts of the world. So they want us to come and discuss immunization for children. He came to represent the Christian Council. I represent the Islamic Council at the meeting. So during a sort of a break for tea, And then the guy, a media guy, he's a Muslim. You know, the journalists, they are so free. They have no borders. He just come to me, hold me by hand, and turn me very close to James and hold James and say, Ashafa and James, I want you to talk. I want you to do what? To talk. By you talking, I believe you can keep this state together in peace if you want. So please, talk. My hand on his hand, my heart is beating hard. I want to punch. Should I punch him? Should I blow him? Should I tear him up? But I'm inside the government house. So I have to behave like I resemble somebody. So in my eyes, I remember I'm inside the government house and I could see the soldiers are somewhere, because during the time it's a military moment, it's a military government, but not a civilian. 1995 is a military government. So I have to start smiling. I'm smiling in my face, but in my heart I'm bleeding. My heart is bleeding pain, but my face is smiling to him. How are you? How are you? How are you? What do I do? What do I do? It's okay. Let me get his contact address so that I can get rid of him. Let me know his house. Hey, how are you? Where do you live now? How are you? Where are you living? Say, okay, just come to the Ecumenical Center. And he's very tactful, also intelligent. He said, no, come to the Ecumenical Cathedral, where the center is. So I know I'm in your house. I want to come to your house. He said, no, just come to, if you come there, I want to find there. And I was just, when I asked 1, 2, 3, he still insisted, please come. Then I keep it off. I said, okay, I will see you there. He said, anytime you come there between 9 and 4, I'm in there, you can find me there. I was happy I found him, but let me trace him. So I went to for the first time, a Muslim young man, active. I went into the community. Then I went with my friends and told them, look, we are going to that guy. We are going to deal with him. Let me just trace him up, and we are going to follow him, and we are going to get his house, and we know how to eliminate him in the dark of the night. However, I'm going, if I didn't come out after 20 minutes, start throwing stone into the house and shout that they must release me or you are going to blow the place off. So it's okay. So I put somebody outside far away, and then the other one, the other side, they come with their machine the other way. So I walk into the cathedral.
What is machine?
Motorcycle.
Better.
They park far away. So I went into inside the building, and as I came in, it's abnormal to see a Muslim coming into the cathedral, because in Nigeria, what you are doing here, you don't find it there. It's very, very rare to find a church and a mosque side by side. No. If you've seen it, I've been there, those colonial mosque and church or government building, not just in the community as you have a synagogue and a mosque side by side. No, you're calling for blow. So what I did, I went there, it was abnormal. Everybody come out, what do you want? Who is here? What did he want? I said, no, I come to see James. I said, okay, hold on, sit down. And look at me, just sit down. In fact, the lady just said, I'm coming. She went, and somebody come again and said, what are you doing? Yes, who do you want to see? So at the end of the day, it is James. So they told me to sit down, and they went him, they called him, and then I said, I just come to see you to ask, when are we meeting? Let's organize a debate, because I'm a DDET type. I learn about many of the Christian scriptures, so I know comparative religion. So can we organize a debate? So from debate, I can get rid of him. We can spend more time, and I can tell my boys. But at the end of the day, as I was happy planning this, I went to the mosque on Friday, and the imam was just like this. Your masjid, it's a corporate. We call them corporate imams. We call them social imams. Social imams. That's their names in our circle. We call them social imam. They're social imams. They are too corporate. They want to accept everybody. No, let's break it. Even if Muslim is not good enough, we send him away. It's not just about the others. So, but he doesn't belong to that. So, and the imam was talking on khutbah. I listened, and he was saying about the power, how you can turn your enemy to become your friend. That was the topic, turning the enemy into a friend. And he was talking and saying, do you know what the prophet used to make all the worst of his enemy his best of friend? Do you know what the greatest companion of the prophet have used? The power of forgiveness. But you don't wait for him, then you continue. Don't wait for him to say he's sorry. Muhammad never wait, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, never wait for the sorry of the people of Mecca. He didn't wait for them to say they are sorry. When they came out, what do you expect of us? He said, I'm forgiving you as Yusuf has forgiven his brother. So he didn't wait to say, oh, now tell me you are sorry. before I give you. Say, give them that unconditional forgiveness. You have to do it. And he was looking at my direction. You have to do it. You have to do it. It's the man talking to me. You know, at time we Imam, when we are looking, we look at people's eyes. When we are doing our khutbah, we look at eyes. And he was just looking at my direction. You have to do it. I was crying. When after it's the time for the Jummah to start up, he said, somebody had to touch me. Say, stand up. We are praying. And I pray. I went back home crying. Most of the verses and quotation he gave, I have to study it on my own to confirm what he says. Is it there? And it is true. From that moment, I make up my mind. I discovered the true spirit of Islam, and I become the student of that Imam, and I follow him up. From that moment, I was a changed person. And so I take the first move to convince my constituency that we are no more going to kill him. I can't tell them. So that one take a long story. Before some of them agree and some of them disagree up to today, they say, no man, you are not doing the right thing. So this is the very important thing from that perspective. So the same Quran, the power of forgiveness and the spirit of forgiveness in Islam that make me to change, not because I want to. But to you, sir, I'm sorry, I want to tell you one thing. It is not for me, I have no challenge with the American system or the political leaders. It is with you, an individual American, who can change America. It's not the political system. It's not the economic system. It is the individual American, because it is the American people who have created that system. It is the same American people who can change that system if it's no more comfortable to their own need. For example, who organized the Freedom Riders in the 1930s? 50s. That's 50, 60 years ago. The Freedom Riders are young Americans who break the law of apartheid in this country. They pause for the white, they pause for the color. They say we don't want it, and white and black together, different colors, hold their hand, enter a coach and ride across the southern part of this country. You remember the Freedom Riders? Just go and Google it. You see what they did. Individual people. They make a change that make the president at that particular time to come out and make a pronouncement that stop and ban this law. The civil liberty that follows later on the civil liberty movement to remove the colors and the black. There are two young people who are the vocal voice. One is a Christian, the other is a Muslim. The first one who is a Christian is Reverend Martin Luther King. He was a young boy who believed this thing must end. He started his own way based on Christian theology of liberation. And then there are other young Muslims. Alhaji Malik Shabazz, Malcolm X. He also took off on the Muslim side. The pastor said, look, this thing must end. That inherent right and liberty within the Constitution must come to play. They work on it. The two of them using different paradigm from their religious tradition. Motivating factor to make. When he went to Hajj, Malcolm X changed and he took a true direction and say it's not about the color, it's about the heart. It is the heart that needs to change. I'm sorry, initially I was working on the color of the skin, but I realized it's not the color. Then he left the nation of Islam. He said it is the heart that needs to change. He also make his own struggle. So the two of them today are icon in this country. So therefore, it is you individual Americans that I'm talking to today. The change must begin with you. When you start it, others will take it. When they take it, it's not about just sitting down on the Wall Street. Beyond Wall Street, things won't change. But you have to lead, not waiting for the institutions. Because you make the institutions and only you can change the institution. Thank you.
So we have time maybe for just one more question, and then we'll start closing it up. Any other questions? Sorry, I saw this hand come up first.
Assalamu alaikum. I would like to thank this great center for this opportunity and for the work they have been doing, and I wish them all well and all success in their endeavors. I also thank Charles, Alan, the Sheikh and the pastor. I have heard a lot about their story and their struggle, and I think they are sparking a a flame that we hope will overcome all the unnecessary violence in our world. In Islam, Allah said, "Inna Allah bin nasi la-ra'ufun rahim." God is merciful on all people. He didn't say for Muslims. Also in Islam, in Quran, Allah said, وَكَتَبَ رَبُّكُمْ عَلَى نَفْسِهِ الرَّحْمَةِ. God has written mercy upon Himself. So what about us human beings? We should follow suit. And tell me about just one war in human history that did not end at the negotiating table. Then why should we negotiate from the beginning? So my question is, how did the political establishment respond to your endeavor?
In Nigeria, political establishment.
Thank you. May I stand up now that I'm getting the last shot? Thank you for this important question. When we started, it was during the military regime. And people consolidate their powers when there is a state of instability. We were careful because at that point people were being killed. And that was why when we wanted holding our debate that turned dialogue, no government institution was willing to give us space. Private halls where you can rent and pay said no. They never believed that Christians and Muslim young people can be in one place without pulling the place down. And it coincided with the time where a certain aircraft was bombed, assumably had accident, sorry to use the word bomb, and crash landed. And bombs were found somewhere, the killing of some young people. And they felt that if we do have that meeting, it will not augur well for the country, generally speaking. So that was one big challenge. Eventually, the British Council felt that they have found some light in this thing. Can we allow these guys to use our hall? However, the British Council director, who was then a Nigerian, said, I give you this hall and you know that I can lose my job. Can you promise me that there will be no violence? We gave him our words. But unfortunately or fortunately, most of the people that came with daggers in their pockets. In case for free-for-all fight ensures they can take their pound of flesh. Without experience, but by God's guidance, we organized a successful dialogue. Questions were censored. And if they are very explosive, we refer the person to his fate to answer the question after the meeting. And that we had a very successful encounter. Not long after that, the British Council took interest and started giving us pockets of grant to work with young people. So we could not accept grant from the government because the government of our land then were seen as part of the problem. And working with them will make you stooge of that system. And of course, governments are transitional, and we intend to stay for as long as we live and even have successors, so that we are not seen as working with any particular government. However, that we had enjoyed the political will of the governor of our state at some point. The civilian government gave us a piece of land and asked us to build a center. And thank God to the people of America, hopefully by January, they are going to build for us a magnificent center from USAID support. So that's why I say you are still doing certain things. Secondly, in some states, the government were seen as part of the problem. Like in Plateau State of Nigeria now, sometimes when you even invite the people and say the government officials are coming, the people will not come because they see them as part of the problem. But generally speaking, recently the president's wife, the first lady of Nigeria, so to say, was appointed the chairperson of African First Ladies Mission, Peace Mission. And she had invited Imam and myself to come and help her. I believe by now she's looking for us because she was supposed to contact us in this week that we are here. So, the government are not directly supportive, but they are not also stopping us. And the religious leaders are happy because we have what we call the Nigeria Interreligious Council, which is co-chaired by the Sultan, who is the supreme spiritual leader of all Muslims in Nigeria, and Pastor Ayo Orisejefo, who is also the leader of all Christians in Nigeria. And in the past, we have developed for them an action plan, but now they know what to do better than us, and we are happy that they are doing it. However, they need a level, another level, a step down, middle class religious leaders who can implement decisions taken at that very top, because they don't have the time to go to the grassroots and say to them what they want to do. Probably one may want to ask, what are you doing with young people? We have a structure for young people even up to primary school, where people from the ages of 10 and 13 are made peace ambassadors. In that way, we give them badges, and we say to them, anytime you fight, you will be debadged. So every young child wants to carry the badge on his shoulder, on his chest, that is a peace ambassador. That is another strategy for catching them young. And the women are the best peacemakers. Each time you give them anything to do, they go further. If you are privileged to see the second film, titled An African Answer, you will see that each time we ask for a particular thing, the women go first. The men restrain themselves. They are very difficult. And that is why the woman is the best creature, because she is a refined product from the man. She has intuitive brilliance. So we are happy we have mothers. Lastly, I do want to say our religious leaders are getting supportive now. Initially we had challenge with them, but now they are joining, because one can be excluded. If you don't join them, you will be seen as an exclusivist and probably stigmatized. So when a good thing is on ground, join them before you are left out. So we are calling them to join the peace wagon before they are left out. And I want to say thank you, sir. Very much thank you. I felt infected by the love I saw in this masjid. I see all my journey throughout the world. We have traveled quite extensively. I've not seen an Islamic center like the Adam Center, where initiatives are taken with the mind of infecting people with love. I must commend you for that. I'm not just missing my word. So thank you.
I think, in addition to what my friend have said, before I come to make the second comment, I will start from that. Initially, I thought I met a mosque in Canada called Masjid al-Mary. Masjid al-Mary. And the Imam of the masjid, his name is Mr. Jesus. Mr. Jesus. He's a Somali, very outstanding, very unique Imam. You have the same character with him. He's a corporate Imam, you know. And his name is Isa. I say, why are you Mr. Jesus? My name is Isa. What is Isa in English? I say, it's Jesus. He said, okay. So I'm Mr. Jesus. And I said, okay, you are Mr. Jesus. And everybody like say, you are going to Mr. Imam Jesus. So, and all over his area in Canada, I say, Imam Jesus, Masjid al-Mary, Mary Mosque. Instead of Masjid al-Mariam, he said Masjid al-Mary, and it was a unique way of entering the. So I thought it was, I've traveled about 54 countries around the world. But that is one of the mosques I feel and want to talk of a true spirit of connecting and contextualizing Islam in the reality of your world, of your community, I thought it was the best thing I've seen until I come to Adam Center. So, Brother Muhammad, congratulations. Thank you very much. I think one of the things we are doing is to institutionalize our approach, because our approach emanates from the Quran and Sunnah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When I heard this masjid served as a catalyst to raise funds for the destroying mosques in Pakistan. I don't know it was this masjid. They just say and the church around to renovate a church that was destroyed in Pakistan. They say a mosque in America. I say a mosque in America has done that. I said, you see, these American people, it is American money. It is American government. They are playing this, they are playing that. You know, it is the CIA money. It's not this, it's not that. No any Muslim or will sit down to raise a pen to repair a mosque. I said, but Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam has done that. He gave an order that Saint Katrina, which is inside the heart of the Middle East, less than 300 or 400 miles away from Haram. That place has these monasteries, and when the place was taken over, the Prophet of Islam Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam make an agreement, a documentation that no Muslims leader must touch whatever the situation. They must protect the sanctuary of that church, and must protect the priests within that church and the worshippers in that place, and they must use every means to give them all the necessary support they needed. And this law is binding from today until the day of judgment. And up to today, Saint Katrina is there. It now found within Jerusalem and Syria, between the border. Egypt is on Mount Sinai in Egypt. It's in Egypt on Mount Sinai. In Egypt, he is there. He always go to all those places better than me. You know, he's my boss. You know? Not really. It's really in Mount Sinai. Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave that order, and all his companions to this day, that place is protected. When Muslims have right to work on it and turn it into something else, they never do, because the Prophet say no. So today, if this mosque raise money to send to protect, to rebuild and destroy any Muslim who destroy any place of worship, even if it is a pagan place of worship, negate the principle of the Quran. So therefore it is anti-Islam. So therefore it is a duty of the Muslim to go and renovate that thing that was destroyed by our Muslims. And doing that, you are not doing something special. You are doing the ideal, you are following the ideal teachings and principle of Islam. So I'm very happy. I know Imam, but I don't know that he is the one who was behind this. So I'm very happy that they did it. If you say no, many of you will not do it. You will not even do it. But when those children come and say, look, we benefit from it, we even go to that school, but we want to read the school have been destroyed, what can we do? You want a fundraising? He said, yes. So when he gave the approval, he was telling me, they are talking, they will have a time, Imam will say, let me go and think about it. Immediately they come and say, yes, it needs to be done, and we support it. So now I want to thank you very much for following the true spirit of Islam in supporting the idea. People should know that there are people around the world, no matter what it takes, for both the Muslim and the Christian to live by the virtue and principle of our religious traditions. And for the Christian here, it's not surprising me if I remember what Jesus has done about the theology of the Good Samaritans, giving help to our neighbors, the neighbor spirit. So I think it's the same thing. And for people of other faiths, you have something that talk about the others around you. And I'm very happy to be part of this community. And we hope we'll find a time that we'll come back again when you have a true interfaith program. We'll come and share our journey of life, especially on the current issues that you feel we can make a contributions to. Our hands and our doors are open. And very often we'll be starting what we call an International Interfaith Institute of Peace in Nigeria. We have about 14 hectares of land for that. And when the project take off, we are expecting people to come on exchange programs or to come and pick up from the African experience across. And the door is open, and we love to connect with Adam Center on running that programs effectively. This is we are throwing this offer, and we hope Adam Center will pick it up. So thank you very much for having us.
So quickly, just join me in thanking Pastor James, Imam Shafa, and obviously Dr. Alan Channer for coming and being with us today.
Thank you so much.
And we'd like to close with Imam Shafa, if you can just finish the dua or a closing supplication.
الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم اهدنا الصراط المستقيم اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. We pray unto Allah to show us the truth and nothing but the truth, and give us the courage to follow the path of truth. Oh Allah, show us falsehood and nothing but falsehood, and give us the wisdom and the courage to abstain from following the path of falsehood. Allahumma arina haqqan haqqan warzuqna ittiba'ah wa arina batilan batilan warzuqna ijtinaba. Subhana rabbika rabbil izzati amma yasifun wa salamun alal mursalin walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
جزاكم الله خير. Thank you. جزاكم الله خير. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.